Happy Halloween. You look familiar. Oh wait, I know who you are. You're that weird motherfucker who sold me that Super Mario World game last year along with that bag of nice-smelling white stuff. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah. yeah, I did. Anyway, wanna buy this Sonic game?
Sure. Sure, why not?
Take it. It's yours.
Wow, what a generous guy you are. Thanks! Wait a minute, I don't even own the Genesis. Wow, what a generous guy you are. Thanks! Wait a minute, I feel like I remember there being something wrong with that Mario World game you sold me last. I just got this Sega Genesis along with a copy of Sonic 1 for free! Free! This is even the copy I'm legally allowed to sell without the feds busting down my door! This is definitely too good to be true. Something's fishy here. Or what the kids like to say. Sus! This console probably no longer works, this game probably no longer works. Why else would this be free? Let's test it out, I guess. Seems normal so far. Man, this is weird. I sure do hope it's just a normal Sonic 1 cart, and I sure do hope after I finish playing this game, a smiling Sonic plush with bloodstains under its eyes doesn't appear right behind me. The world is full of spooky shit. Spooky, unexplainable occurrences happen all the time. For example, last night I was just chilling, and then I felt compelled to talk about this shit. Let's go back in time, shall we? The mid-80s, an era I know a lot about because I was very much conscious and alive. Totally. Around the early to mid-80s, the world was introduced to the first quality video game consoles. Quality video game consoles. There's a difference. The two big ones competing here were the Sega Master System and, of course, the Nintendo Entertainment System. Classic systems right here. And by systems, I mean the NES. I don't know much about the Master System, nor do I have any desire to learn about it. The Sega Master System is pretty irrelevant. Majority of the people in the world don't even know it exists. So, in order to become relevant, Sega need to wait a couple more years to drop their new system that starts with a G and rhymes with Nemesis. Get ready. Here we got the debut of the Super Mario Brothers. Revolutionary game, all that jazz. But damn, this looks like shit. This could not last forever. Improvements definitely had to be made. And they were. Early NES games, for the most part, all look pretty god-awful. But as time progressed and developers learned more about the hardware, the quality of the visuals significantly improved. Just take a look at some of the later titles, like Kirby's Adventure, and of course, Super Mario Bros. 3. When you look at Super Mario Bros. 3, it makes the original Super Mario Bros. Look like it was designed for much weaker hardware, when in fact, it wasn't. Over 30 years later, and a lot of this stuff is still really impressive. They sure did seem to push the hardware to the absolute limit. But even this wasn't so pretty and couldn't last forever. But if they already pushed the hardware to the limit, where can they even go from here? Well, with this piece of shit, nowhere. So, it was time to get new and improved hardware. The fourth generation of video game consoles was among us. The fourth generation of video game consoles began the day before Halloween in 1987. How fitting. NEC dropped the PC engine in Japan. When it came out in America, they called it the TurboGrafx 16. Because that name is cool as fuck. Localization teams always know what they're doing. With a name like TurboGrafx 16, your system is bound to fly off the shelves. It didn't, it flopped. The fourth generation of video game consoles began the day before Halloween in 1988. The Sega Mega Drive released in Japan, known in the States as the Sega Genesis. A much more powerful system compared to the NES. So, Nintendo had to do something, so what did Nintendo do to fight back? Nintendo waited. They weren't quite ready. They didn't need to drop an epic 16-bit system yet. The NES was still doing well and still getting some new great games. But nah, come on, eventually, at some point, they needed to cave in. I repeat, this shit can't last forever. In November of 1990, Nintendo released the Super Famicom in Japan, and then the Super Nintendo in America, during August of the year after. What games does this thing launch with? Oh no! A new Mario game! Oh shit! What was Sega gonna do, surrender? Well, eventually, but not this early. I feel like the main appeal of the Genesis when it initially came out was, it's powerful. But now Nintendo's in the game, and they cannot compete with Mario. They don't have any big iconic franchises like that. What do you think, people are gonna go out and buy a Genesis because Sega dropped a new Alex Kidd game? No! They needed to compete with Mario. They needed an iconic platformer type game with an iconic character like the Mustache Man. And eventually, they did it. They did it pretty damn well, too. After a bunch of scrapped concepts, in the end, they finally came up with Sonic the Hedgehog. A great character design that was definitely capable of competing with Mario. And of course, a game went along with that, Sonic the Hedgehog. The game. Sonic's a platformer game, but of course, we all know the gimmick here. He can run fast. Sonic the Hedgehog did well. It sure did well. In fact, it's one of the best-selling games of all time. It sold 24 million copies. They knew they had a gold mine here, so of course, like any popular franchise, they milked it. They milked it a lot. It's a common opinion that the quality of the games took a massive toll as the years passed, but that's besides the point. Sonic the Hedgehog was huge for a long time. Sega wanted to craft a phenomenon, and they succeeded. Imagine if they fused Sonic with Pikachu, that'd be pretty cool, I think. Sonic the Hedgehog got its own cult following. Cult following quite literally. The Sonic fanbase is one of the most notorious fanbases of all time.
Those damn frickin' fan freaks!
As the fanbase was expanding, something else was also growing in popularity. The World Wide Web. The Internet. A wacky, revolutionary service where you could do all sorts of things like play chess games, write a letter to President Clinton, and of course, share your shitty made-up scary stories. Creepypastas! The words creepy and copypasta fused together to make some of the worst shit I've ever read in my life. Okay, I'm sure you can dig and find some quality stuff out there. I'm sure I've read some good stuff at some point, but the popular ones are shit like Jeff the Killer. This story used to be so scary to me when I was 11. Looking back on it, oh lord, it's so f***ing ridiculous and nonsensical. But I was Jeff the Killer for Halloween, 6th grade. There's quite a few popular subgenres of these creepypastas. While a lot of them are about wacky figures like Jeff the Killer or Slender Man, there's also the haunted media creepypastas, based on TV shows, video games, stuff like that. They're all so cliche and dumb. Some guy will buy, for example, a video game from a yard sale. It'll be in poor condition and have sloppy handwriting on it, and when you play the game, it's full of hyper-realistic blood and all that stupid shit. But anyway, one of these haunted media creepypastas came about in August of 2011, and guess what it was about? Sonic! Sonic the Hedgehog. It was bound to happen, unfortunately. Sonic.EXE. Written by... I think we'd be better off not talking about that. A spooky, scary story about a haunted Sonic game, or whatever. Let's see what comes up when you search for Sonic.EXE on Google Images. Wow, how original and creative. Okay, to be fair, this story is where a lot of the video game creepypasta cliches originated. This story is also widely agreed upon to have kickstarted the video game creepypasta movement, for the better or for the worse. Let's delve into the story, shall we? Sonic.EXE. Oh boy, so, the protagonist here is some dumbass named Tom. Tom was a big fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. Red flag right there. On a nice summer afternoon, he was outside having some fun. In other words, he was inside playing Sonic Unleashed. He likes how you can explore the towns in it. Thank you for sharing this critical detail. In his peripheral vision, he saw the mailman show up and put something in his mailbox. Oh boy, what could it be? He got a CD case and a note. Upon looking at the note, he realizes this all came from his dear friend Kyle. Let's just call him that. I love this cliche, let's just call him that bullshit in these creepypastas. It makes it really realistic because they're protecting their imaginary buddy's identity. God, this shit makes my fucking eyes. The note was also badly written and difficult to read. How shocking. Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late. And I was hoping you'd do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me. And if you don't destroy the CD, he'll come after you too. He's too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the disc, and you'll destroy him. But do it quick, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game, it's what he wants. Just destroy it. Please. Kyle. The disc had Sonic.EXE written on it with black marker, and it wasn't in Kyle's handwriting, so he probably got it from a yard sale or eBay. Well, that was weird, our dumbass protagonist thought to himself. Instead of just doing what his dear friend Kyle asked him to do, he played the game. Definitely was not expecting that. Yes, because it said Sonic on it, he wanted to play it, so he ran up to his room and started up. It was the first Sonic game. He was all like, awesome, because, like he said earlier, he liked the classics. What? No, you didn't. You said you didn't mind them. When he pressed start, something was wrong. The title screen turned to a spooky, scary version before cutting to black. The sky was dark. The title emblem was all rusted. Sega 1991 was now Sega 666. Oh, f*** off. And the water had turned red, like blood, except it looked, get this, hyper-realistic! Sonic's eyes were pitch black and had two glowing red dots in them, staring right at Tom. And his smile was so wide it stretched to the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed about that image when I saw it, though I figured it was a glitch and forgot about it. A glitch? What the f*** are you on? The black screen lasted for around 10 seconds, and then the file select screen from Sonic 3 showed up. For some reason. How wacky. The background wasn't normal though. Oh no, it was the dark cloudy sky of the bad Stardust Speedway level from Sonic CD, and there were only 3 save files. And the music was from Earthbound for whatever reason. The character select really freaked Tom out. It only showed Tails, Knuckles, and Dr. Robotnik? I mean, how can you play as Robotnik in a classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? That's when I realized this wasn't a glitchy game, it was a hack game. That's what made you realize this? Oh yeah, just a little glitch. This? Oh, it's real. Yeah, it definitely looked hacked. It was really creepy, but as a smart gamer, I wasn't scared. Or at least I tried not to be. I told myself it was just a hack game and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, shaking off the creeped out feeling, I picked file 1 and chose Tails, and when I selected and got started, the game froze for about 5 seconds and I heard a creepy pixelated laugh that sounded an awful lot like that Kefka guy from Final Fantasy before cutting to black. So, I had no idea audio could be pixelated, huh? You learn something new every day, I guess. I had no idea pixels were a thing in audio. The screen was black for around 10 seconds again, and then Hill. Act 1. So, it was just Tails there. Tom described the music as sounding like a peaceful melody in reverse. He started running his tails, and for 5 minutes there was nothing but flat ground and a few trees. But then, the peaceful music started to lower into slow, deep tones, very slowly. What the? There's a dead animal on the ground, that's wacky. Tails then looked shocked and sad as he moved. He kept that look in his face. More and more dead animals, and the music kept going lower and lower. Tom then describes in graphic detail how the dead animals died for nothing more than shock factor. I'm not gonna go into that. Really shitty attempt at trying to make the story scary. The music stopped, eventually. And a minute later, Tails was running up a hill, and then he just stopped. Sonic was on the other side of the screen with his back against him. Tails looked so happy to see Sonic, but Sonic wasn't responding to him, so Tails' smile faltered. During some sort of cutscene, Tails started slowly walking towards him. Tom began to have a growing feeling of dread, as he felt Tails was in danger and something bad was going to happen. As Tails came closer, there was faint static getting louder in the background, and suddenly, stuck out his hand to touch him. Oh, and then in a split second, Tom saw Sonic's eyes open. They were black, with the red glowing dots, just like during that brief moment in the title screen. No smile. Black screen again, no sound. It was black for around 7 seconds this time. Damn, these CD loading times suck ass. And then there was a message. A brief message. Hello! Do you want to play with me? Wow. This shit's spooky. Tom, being a social outcast, was never asked this question before and was understandably creeped out. He did not want to continue the game. But he continued the game and ended up at a different level, this time the title being Hide and Seek. That game goes so hard. The level seemed to be Angel Island Zone from Sonic 3, but everything was on fire. Tails was so scared to the point where he broke the 4th wall and made frantic gestures. He just wanted to get out of there, man. Our brave protagonist then proceeds to hold down the arrow key as hard as he could. I'm sure that doesn't matter. I'm sure your keyboard's not pressure sensitive. A pixelated version of that creepy theme when you meet Shadow at the Ark of Robotnik from Sonic Adventure 2 was playing as it made Tails trek through the desolate forest, trying to help him escape whatever he was trying to run from. Tom then heard that dang creepy laugh again. Shut up! Sonic starts popping everywhere on the screen with those spooky black and red eyes. The music turned to the regular Sonic drowning music. Sonic was after Tails, he was flying! He had a completely sickening, deranged look in his face. He looked like he was enjoying tormenting poor little Tails. Another cutscene happens where Tails trips, the music stops, and Sonic disappears. Tails started crying for 15 seconds. Tom seems to be really confident about these time estimates. The scene was rather upsetting to watch, and I kinda teared up myself. But then Sonic appeared right in front of Tails, and Tails looked up in horror. Blood started to come down those blackened eyes of Sonic's as a grin slowly grew from his face as he looked down at the horrified Fox. I could do nothing but watch. Sonic lunged at Tails, and the screen went black. There was a loud screeching noise that lasted 5 seconds. You're too slow. Wanna try again? Tom was shocked. Did Sonic just kill his best buddy Tails? What is going on here? And what did Tom do with the shock? He shook it off, of course, and continued. Brought back to the title screen. I shook the shock off as it was brought back to the character select. The save file that had Tails was different. Tails was no longer in the box itself, but in the TV screen itself, which was flickering with that red static. Tails' expression scared me. His eyes were black and bleeding. His orange fur had gone black, and he had an expression of anguish on his face. Trying to ignore it, I picked Knuckles next. The screen went black yet again for 10 seconds. I'm getting really sick of these second counts. I don't give a shit. This time the level said, you can't run. I was really freaked out by now. I couldn't really tell if this was a glitch or a hack or some kind of sick, twisted joke. How the fuck could this be a glitch? And Tom being Tom, he continued, of course. Next level looked a lot different, having the ground of Scrap Brain Zone, but the sky was that spooky, ominous red sky from the main menu. But the music was what creeped Tom out the most. It was Earthbound music again for some reason. Knuckles looked all scared, just like Tails, but not as much, because he's Knuckles, and he's really brave and epic and grown up. Just like Tails, he broke the fourth wall and looked like he had no clue what was going on. Tom moved Knuckles down the straight pathway in the level, and as this was going on, the screen started flickering red static, and then Tom noticed some blood stains in the ground. Oh no, something horrible was going to happen to Knuckles! He looked awfully nauseated, but Tom the asshole kept him going. And then Sonic appeared right in front of him with the damn red static. And then a black screen. Found you! I was now scared. Sonic found Knuckles already? What was going on? I thought you were already scared. Make up your damn mind. The red static was back, and Tom was back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was panicking, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. And this time, that high-pitched squealing from the Silent Hill 1's final boss was playing. God damn, this game is a huge crossover. Got Earthbound, Silent Hill, Final Fantasy. Oh no, is this some sort of boss battle? Suddenly Sonic was right behind Knuckles and pixelated black smoke. Tom made Knuckles turn around and punched Sonic. But Sonic disappeared in the pixelated black smoke again before he could even land a hit. Sonic was right behind Knuckles again, and then the same shit repeated. He tried to punch and the blue monkey vanished. At this point, Tom felt like he was going insane. Another cut space scene played as Knuckled fell to his knees and clutched his head sobbing. I felt his agony. Sonic was actually driving us both crazy. And then a split second has been said 7 times in the story, by the way. Sonic lunged at Knuckles and the screen went black with another distorted screeching noise that lasted at least 3 seconds.
So many souls to play with, so little time, would you agree?
What was going on, man? Was Sonic actually trying to speak to Tom personally? No way! He got sent back to the main menu yet again. Knuckles was in the TV screen of the second file select box. His red fur darkened to a reddish gray. His dreadlocks were dripping with blood and his eyes were black and bleeding too. He looked sad. Poor guy. Tom thought maybe Tails and Knuckles were actually trapped in the TV screens, but no way, couldn't believe that. Tom finally took a break. Without sarcasm here, I'm actually surprised. Good on you, Tom. He took a nice little nap that wasn't actually so nice because he had a scary nightmare about the game.
I was in pitch black darkness, though I was under the light given off by a lamp that hung high above my head.
So, were you in pitch darkness or not? He could hear the cries of Knuckles and Tails. Oh no.
Help us! Why'd you give us to him? Run away before he gets you too!
The cries fade away and Sonic's evil, scary, spooky laugh came in.
You're a lot of fun to play with, kid. Just like your friend Kyle. Though, he didn't last long. No, not dear friend Kyle! Won't be long until you join him and all my other friends.
Sonic was walking towards Tom, oh boy, flickering in and out several different directions.
You can't run, kid. You're in my world now, just like the others.
He grabbed Tom and Tom saw his bleeding black and red-eyed grinning face and then he woke up. Whoa, thank God. A few hours went by and he's all like, you know what?
I'm gonna continue playing this game that's seemingly haunting me because I'm a fucking idiot. He turned on the computer, loaded up the game, and selected Robotnik next. Playing as Robotnik? Wow, this sure is wacky. The level title this time was... Ooh.
Terrifying.
Now our brave hero is in a hallway of some sort. Despite the pixelated style, it didn't look like it belonged in a classic Sonic game.
The floor was shiny and checkered. The walls were a dark grayish purple.
Oh yeah. Also, our author here can't seemingly decide whether or not to use the American or British spelling of the word gray.
With animated candlelight.
Apostrophe.
What do they own?
And a few dark bloodstains here and there. And there was a dark red curtain hanging above the top part of the screen. Every 12 seconds or so, that red curtain sways very slowly. But whenever you're playing the game, you can barely see it move. The music was oddly pleasant. A piano was playing a rather sad yet peaceful song. But I knew better. This was a song that played in Hill Act 1. Only, it wasn't in reverse.
Robotnik wasn't a pussy, so he didn't look nervous at all. Rather, he seemed suspicious. Maybe a tiny bit paranoid. He had a little idle animation where he turns his head to left and right at least twice and then shrugs, while staring directly at Tom, breaking the fourth wall again or something. Tom was freaked out. But guess what he did? He continued, of course. He hesitated at a long flight of stairs and then proceeded to go down them. The walls were now darker and more reddish, and the red torches were now what Tom calls an eerie blue. Another hallway that he felt was longer than the last. Another flight of stairs that took at least a full minute to go down. Ha 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 ha, and then the music slowly faded away again while the walls progressively turned to an even darker shade of red, and the torch flames were now black. How is that possible? Robotnik in the third hallway. This is where he started to turn to a little bitch. He looked really scared, even looked as if he was trying to hide it. And of course, Tom couldn't blame him, because of course he was scared too. And then Sonic appeared right in front of Robotnik the same way he did Knuckles, and then the red static again. The static lasted for around 15 seconds, yeah, I get the point. And then boom, an unpleasant image to say the least.
The image showed a hyper-realistic, oh come the f*** on, of Sonic.
A hyper-realistic? He doesn't specify what the fuck he's talking about.
Standing in the darkness, where you can only see his face while his head and torso fade into black. And when I say hyper-realistic, I mean he looked so real you could actually see the lines in his blue fur, as if you could actually feel the fur if you touched the screen. His face, oh god, he had the most horrifying smile I'd ever seen. And that's saying something, considering I saw that image at the start of the game.
Yeah, because you know what they say, the second time's always the worst.
His eyes are wide and black and once again crying blood, which also looked hyper-realistic. And there were two small glowing red dots in those black eyes staring right at me, as if staring into my mind. His grin was wide and demonic, literally stretched the sides of his face like a Cheshire cat, except Sonic had fangs. Very sharp fangs, much like a werewolf's teeth, except more vicious looking, somewhat yellowish, and from the look of it, he had stains of blood and small bits of flesh in his lips and fangs, as if he ate some animal.
Tom stared at it for at least half a minute. He felt as if it was actually looking at him, smiling at him. Oh no, that face. After 10 seconds, it was etched into his brain for good. The screen flickered with red static again 3 times, and the third time, it went back to the image, but this time, I am God. Oh my God.
So, Sonic?
It was finally starting to sink in. This ain't no ordinary Sonic. This Sonic is a monster.
A pure, evil, sadistic, all-powerful, nightmarish, demented monster. And all of his victims, including Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, and possibly Kyle, are just his little toys, and the game is the very gateway into his chaotic, nightmarish world and the very hell his victims are trapped in. Suddenly, in an actual split second, I screamed as Sonic lunged at the screen, screeching loudly with his mouth wide open to an unnatural length, revealing nothing but literally spiraling abyss of pure darkness before the red static came again, this time much louder and distorted. So loud that I heard my ears. I yelled and grabbed my ears as the red static screeched for a good 7 seconds.
Black screen, and then eventually a text came up. Ready for round 2, Tom? Just stay away from the sexual overtones. Ha ha ha, and it sounded very clear as if Sonic was right behind Tom. Ha 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 ha. Sent right back to the main menu, the third file now had Robotnik and the TV in the same tormented state as Tails and Knuckles.
Robotnik's skin turned a dull gray, his mustache drooped and had blackened. His glasses broke, and blood is coming from them, and he had a mere dead-like expression on his face.
Tom looked at Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik, and he started to f***ing cry.
I pitied them for the agony they're going through. They were forever trapped within the game, forever tormented by that horrid hedgehog, and always will be.
Bam, and Tom shut the computer off. He was not turning it back on no matter what.
I sat there for maybe 25 seconds, horrified by what had just happened.
I don't know why I found this bit funny. 25 seconds? Why not just say 30? Does this man have a clock embedded in his brain or some shit?
Sonic is the very embodiment of evil. He tortures people who play his game in more ways than one. And then when he gets bored, he drags you into the game. Literally drags you to hell, where he can play with you always, as his toy. I can't get the game out of my computer. I think it's stuck in there. But at least I managed to turn it back on now.
I thought you weren't. I thought you weren't ever gonna do that.
After I sat there for 25 seconds, I heard a voice right behind me, like a whisper.
Try to keep this interesting for me, Tom.
I turned around to see where the voice came from, and what I saw made me scream. Sitting on my bed, staring right at me, was a Sonic plushie smiling with bloodstains under its eyes.
I'm sorry if this is too much for some of you. There will be some complimentary counseling sessions real soon. Well, that was the story of Sonic Executable. Some truly horrifying shit. When this story was published, it almost pushed Stephen King over the edge because he knew he couldn't even attempt to compete.
I don't think it's really necessary to go on and on all day about what makes a story a masterpiece. I mean, we all get it, we all know, but you know what makes the story of Sonic.EXE truly horrifying? Honestly, I'm scared to even say it. I don't want to freak you all out, but... Okay. This is going to be really hard to swallow for some of you, so if you're unable to bear the harsh realities of our world, I'd suggest you shut this off now. So, you may have been wondering, how did I just show you all that footage of the game and the story if it's all fictional? Well, it's not. Sonic.EXE isn't real. Well, sorta. After this story became popular in 2012, some dude by the name of MY5T Crimson, I'm going to assume you pronounce this as Mist Crimson, Crimson the Bat, created a pretty solid, how should I say this, recreation of the game and the story. Apparently they made the game as a joke, but trust me, a lot of the fan content out there for this game was not created
Ironically.
Unfortunately, I regret to inform you that, yes, there is a true Sonic.EXE fanbase. Unlike I Hate You, the Super Mario World creepypasta game I played a year ago, this is an EXE game, not a ROM, so you can't go ahead and play it on a Genesis. But if it were to be a Genesis ROM, that would be inaccurate to the story, as the game in the story is a fucking EXE game from a CD, so I don't know why I bring this up, as it's completely irrelevant. I don't know, I just thought the I Hate You game being an actual SNES ROM was pretty cool. Whatever. And as ridiculous as the story is, it's pretty damn cool that someone went through the effort to make it. Real. It's pretty cool, you can actually see it! You can witness the nightmare for yourself, you get to be Tom! Was that a glitch? And here we are, the Sonic 3 type file select screen with the crimson red background. Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik. Knuckles and Robotnik are locked, so Tails it is. When you select the file, it freezes for a second or two, and then an evil laugh sound effect plays. I'm not sure how I feel about the freezing thing. Is that supposed to make it scary? Because it's sort of preparing you for the quote-unquote jump scare noise. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it. The evil laugh sound used is actually the same one used in the I Hate You ROM when Luigi appears at the very end of the game before you battle him. I recognize it right away because it sounds really goofy and forced. Oh yeah, now that I mention it, I remember our buddy Tom actually told us it was a specific laugh sound effect. Kefka's laugh from Final Fantasy VI. Or 3, depending on how you look at it. I don't play these games. Black screen and then Hill Act 1. Here I am! Tails! The HUD font for the numbers doesn't look right at all. I wonder why the creator opted for that. The wacky, spooky shock effect dead animals start appearing. And then my buddy Sonic. The red static, it actually gets obnoxiously loud. Please shut the fuck up. Tails reaches for him and then the black screen occurs.
Hello. Do you want to play with me?
No, but I'm gonna have to, I guess.
Tails has that fourth wall break sprite thingy where he looks at the player. Tails walking. A Sonic jump scare. How clever. So when the jump scare happened, I let go of the arrow key, so I assume what was supposed to happen was that Sonic was supposed to, you know, chase after me, but he'd be faster and there wouldn't be any way out. But because I wasn't holding anything, he just caught me instantly, which is kind of funny. Ruined the whole moment there. Tails cries, and then Sonic seemingly, ends him.
You're too slow. Want to try again?
Guess I'll have to.
Tails locked now. I have to play Knuckles. The laugh again. Knuckles! The scary red background. I know I have to run right, but I thought, hey, wouldn't it be funny if I ran left? I was actually pretty curious, like our friend Dom. I thought I was going to run into an invisible wall, but no! It kept going! Eventually, the platform just abruptly ended. I was actually thinking that this was potentially a mistake. Maybe the creator forgot to add an invisible wall. But I fell off and this shit happened. And at first I thought this was an actual glitch. Now before you judge me, look at what can happen in Kirby Superstar if you enter Heart of Nova with the sleep ability. It looked kinda like an actual glitch, alright? Props to the dude who made it, I guess. So no, it wasn't a glitch. An Easter egg of some sort? I don't know. But this part was not in the story.
Don't like playing by the rules?
Yeah, kinda. It's fun to do bad things. Okay, this shit's gonna make me nauseous. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this made me jump.
You're fun to play with, Kaons.
Now, of course, it was just reading the name of the user on my PC, and luckily for the game, it wasn't some random shit like Desktop B450M.
You're fun to play with, Desktop B450M.
I kept pushing Knuckles to the end.
But this is my world. Won't be long now. Soon, Kaons will be joining us. Kaons, are you listening?
What?
You're next. And now, I'm right back to where I was. So I played it normally this time. Red static, blood, all that really scary shit. Found you, designed to look like a ransom note, and then the Sonic appearing behind me stuff, all that shit.
You will die at my hands.
Alright.
So many souls to play with. So little time. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think you make a valid point.
Knuckles locked, Eggman time, annoying laugh, ... His fourth wall break sprite thingy looks kinda funny. He's sweating. Jesus Christ, Eggman's a band kid? Runs down the stairs with the color palettes on things changing, yada yada yada. More stairs, a laugh, in the forbidden black flames.
It's Sonic. Static. Static the Hedgehog.
And there it is, the hyper-realistic platypus himself. And then, of course, the I am God with some static.
Ready for round 2, Kaons?
I said to stay away from the sexual overtones!
But there ain't no round 2. Unlike the story, I didn't get sent back to the main menu. We got the game over screen, with the creator credited in the corner. And then some static and some random Japanese text and these weird-ass chants in the background. Of course, just like Curious Tom, I was curious as to what the text meant, so I looked it up. It just seems to be some edgy, spooky shit. I'm not even gonna try to look for an accurate translation. I was curious if anything was going to happen next, so I left it on for a while, but the chanting just seemed to loop. So, yeah, I shut it off. Unlike Tom, thankfully, after playing, I didn't spot a spooky Sonic plush behind me on my bed. I'm safe, I think. And there you go, the Sonic.EXE recreation game. I vividly remember seeing everyone and their mother play this on YouTube back in 2013, but I never bothered to watch because I was too busy working on my To Kill a Mockingbird Chapter 4 reading question for middle school. Pretty solid recreation, fairly accurate to the story, some small things here and there, like at the beginning, it didn't seem like Tails was running up a hill to meet Sonic, it was just flat ground, and of course, everything went a lot faster because, come on, who the fuck wants to sit there watching Tails run for several minutes? Good shit.
Well, it's complete. I did it. I beat Sonic 1 on the Genesis. This is really weird. The game, game box, and controller that guy gave me were all in great condition. Nothing wrong with them. I'm gonna go thank him. Hey man, I just beat that Sonic game you gave me and the Genesis you gave me. Completely fine, absolutely nothing wrong with it. Thank you.
Yeah, whatever, man. Try this one.
Thanks.